In the tumultuous summer of 2020, during a racial protest, in the town of Birmingham, Alabama, a Confederate monument was overturned. Protesters discovered beneath it lie a buried manuscript entitled, The Book of Lucifer. The Book of Lucifer is an account of famous historical religious stories as retold by Satan, aka Lucifer Jehovason. The volumes contained herein are highly controversial, and it is advised that the weak at heart steer clear from it. Skilled literary professor, Lord Cain de Wilt, will read excerpts while also including interviews and testimonies of people whose lives have been forever changed by this book. Let us begin with the story of Noah's Ark, or as Lucifer calls it, God's favorite senior citizen.
Should one decide to follow my father, one will quickly discover that Jesus, the deceptuous tripe visage malignancy. Oh yes indeed, madam, he lied to you. Jesus would rather climb a tree and tell a lie than to stand on the ground and speak the truth. I've seen it. For his deceptive yoke is neither light nor is it easy. It should be stated, dearest reader, that I did not rebel against my father Jehovah and risk all to fulfill some trifling vanity. No, I knew in my heart that father was wrong. Even after centuries had passed and the whole garden debacle had unfolded, I saw my influence had an impact on the peoples of both earth and of heaven. I noticed that many of my brother and sister angels were coming down to earth and having intimate relations with the sons and daughters of Eve. This is a trend that I no doubt inspired. I always supposed that God, seeing my lasting influence upon his creation, realized that I had won, as it were. But it was never a game for me. I was simply glad that man was free. So naturally God was furious and filled with regret. He went out and found one of the oldest men still alive, still managing to drag himself across the face of the earth. A 500-year-old alcoholic named Noah, God's favorite senior citizen. I remember how God frightened Noah almost unto his very death.
Noah. Did somebody say something? I could have swore I heard something. Sound like somebody saying something. Noah. What is it? What? 'Tis I, the Lord thy God. You can't be sneaking up on me like that. I'm old. Behold, the earth is full of violence, so I will destroy it in a violent flood. A flood? What that is? Yes, I've changed my mind. I will make it rain for 40 days and for 40 nights. Thus ye must build ye an ark. A what? What's an ark? What is that? An ark, it's like a boat. A boat? I'm gonna do with a boat. I'm gonna put you and your family on a slow-moving boat with one window and fill it up with a pair of every animal on the earth. You must build this ark. You must preach of the oncoming damnation. And you must keep all of the animals alive.
Dearest reader, please bear in mind that at this time, Noah was over 500 years old. He tried to do as God asked him and warn the people of the merciful destruction that their master was sending, along with his divine plan for escape. Yet the people only mocked him. We're all gonna die! We're all gonna die! Well, listeneth to me. God cameth unto me, and he said he is tired of the violence and the destruction of man. So he will destroy the earth and all her inhabitants violently in a flood. The people mocked him, for his way with words was as weak as the wrist of Jesus.
He lied. I heard this story in a bar in Mesopotamia. He stole it from the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Shutteth uppeth, do not mocketh me. Cometh with me, and joineth me, and the animals on the boat with one window.
The people mocked Noah. They did not believe that because two people disobeyed God, he was about to hold everyone accountable. But that is exactly the Jehovah that I know. and I am convinced his absence of compassion fostered the growth of my own.
You are a foolish old man. Thy brain has obviously gone rot from time. I don't believe you. I don't think the guys are gonna destroy the earth. Not after they work so hard to make it.
If you believe the scriptures, they tell you that it had never rained a single drop of rain before that time. That isn't true. When the planet began to cool, it formed clouds. These clouds literally rained the ocean. I wish you could have seen it. It was beautiful. But Jehovah and his Jedi mind tricks, as you already know, endureth forever.
Fine then. Fine, I'm sick and tired of y'all. Fine, no salvation for you, and no salvation for you, none for you back there, and none for y'all over there. Curse your kids, curse your wives, and curse your husbands, because God's joining everybody out here really soon. I'm talking about very, very soon.
It would take almost a span of 100 years to finish the boat, and then collect all of the animals. A very lengthy process indeed.
Real soon, like in the twinkling of an eye.
Next, the story goes that an exact pair of each animal on Earth arrived specifically on cue at Noah's home in the Middle East. If you can suspend your disbelief long enough to believe it, some beasts, such as the kangaroo, were forced to cross miles of ocean. Some creatures, such as the penguin, were made to cross thousands and thousands of miles of frozen tundra and forge a path into the hot, howling desert. Some Christian scientists suggest that some of the dinosaurs had to evolve quickly into smaller animals just so they could fit on the ark. And we all know it to be true because it is the infallible word of God.
Are you being sarcastic?
I don't know. Are you being sadistic? Anyway, all of the animals magically loaded upon the boat with one window to reference God's intelligent design, or lack thereof.
Hang on now, slow down. What do pandas eat? Do gorillas require exercise? Ham, you idiot. Separate them predator and prey animals. Oh my God. Sham, I need you to get a lot of shovels, because we got to remove all of the animal waste out of that one window. Japheth, I've been meaning to ask you about this dolphin. He confusing me. It's a mammal, and he breathes out. So do we let him come on the boat, or we just let him swim on the side of the boat? I'm not really sure what we're doing now.
So as the very last animal, a turtle, loaded the ark, now 600-year-old Noah and his family, his wife, and his 3 suspiciously young sons, and their 3 wives, who may be the 3 most important women in history, but no record is kept on them because, you know, men, and they all boarded up upon the ark. And then it began to rain. The rain began to fall, and the people begged Noah to be put on board. God closed the door to the ark in their faces, and he said,
Behold,
which also translates into,
looky here, mankind and I shall break up, so in thus that we shall make up.
Jehovah's wrath found the blind, the deaf, sweet little old grandmothers, tiny furry puppies, innocent babbling babies, the sick, all the lonely widows, blacks, whites, Asians, Hispanics, kings, queens, beggars, soldiers, virgin soldiers, and God killed everybody's little sister. And then he killed everybody. Everyone that anybody ever loved died. So his mercy may endureth forever, madam, but it didn't start until long after the flood. Can you imagine listening to the screams of every human on the planet drowning in terror? It was no sweat off my father's back. I would like to take this opportunity to point out something. Who makes a paradise and then drowns it, then promises to one day burn that very same paradise? Someone drunk with power. Many faiths overlook just how cruel and evil God was at this time. God was setting the stage for what would later become the patriarchy. You do what old men tell you to do or you die. God did not shed a tear. But when Jesus, the greasy, self-glorious scum, who knew he was going to die when he came to earth, came down basically to commit suicide, God wept then, and God turned his back then to cry then. To God, the death of one is a tragedy, while the death of millions is just a statistic. So as the rainwater mixed with the salt water of the ocean for 40 days and 40 nights, it killed off all of the marine life. Noah, his family, and the animals on the ark, however, were safe. Noah was only able to fit 1% of all the animals on the ark, which is why scientists say 99% of the animals that have ever lived on Earth are now extinct.
I did what I could, my bad.
Then God, who had been so very vocal with Noah during the construction of the ark, fell silent. So Noah was forced to release several birds to test for dry land. Eventually the ark came to rest upon a mountain and the waters began to recede. So the animals all left the ark and returned to their homes, once again crossing massive oceans, deserts and frozen tundra to pick up right where they left off. Having destroyed every community in the world and also destroying society, God was now pleased.
This is what I'm talking about.
Then God finally broke his silence and spoke unto Noah.
Noah. Oh, did somebody hear something? Did anybody say something?
Noah.
Yes, Lord, I'm sorry. Please don't kill me. I'm just an insignificant alcoholic. Please, I'm old. I'm so old when I poop, dust come out. Please,
Sacrifice those animals to me at once.
Sacrifice? You mean after all of this killing, you still want stuff to die?
I need more subjects.
Well, you just killed everybody, so,
I command thy family to know itself and multiply.
I don't know what you mean by that, God.
Tell your family to have sex, but I want them to keep it in the family.
Oh, that old.
And you have been commanded to believe that that is where all humans came from. Incestuous, ancestral, senior citizens. Try saying that 5 times fast. Well, you either believe that or you believe that all humans evolved from apes in Africa. I shall let you decide. What I pulled away from the story is how so few people actually know God when there are testaments to his toxic, narcissistic behavior literally littering his own book. I ask you, would you have killed every human? Would you have slain every beast? Would you have spared only one family? If you answered no to any of these questions, then I propose that you are indeed more ethical than God himself.
Thousands and soon to be millions of lives have been forever changed by this amazing book. One of the individuals who has been touched by this book is former Seventh-day Adventist minister Marlo Allen. Marlo Allen has renounced Christ and now acknowledges Lucifer as his personal Lord and Savior. we had a chance to catch up with Marlo Allen in his home outside the small town of Intercourse, Alabama.
Hello. Well, my name is Marlo Allen, and I used to be a minister with a church a long time ago. They probably don't want me to say that I was with them and stuff now, but I was. But I left that pulpit of that church, and now I'm a follower of Lucifer. In my own way, you know. I live in a place called Intercourse, Alabama. Yes, I do. And I did that on purpose. I like the name. It's a small town, but I like the name. And the reason why I moved to Intercourse, Alabama, is because, ran into some problems once I became a Satanist. People in Alabama don't really like Satan. I was on YouTube and I was looking up suicide tutorials, and one of the things that popped up in my feed was the Book of Lucifer. And the Book of Lucifer is a story about a protest that happened during 2020 when everything was all crazy, and they was protesting and they knocked over this Confederate monument, and up under there they found something, a picture of Abraham Lincoln and a silver coin, and then they found this book called the Book of Lucifer, where it was Birmingham, Alabama, so, they had to pretend like it wasn't happening or it didn't exist, because, this is the Bible Belt, and if it's one thing they're gonna do, it's suppress, so if you like a woman and you want to have a body, then you can't do that in Alabama. Or if you are a human being of color and you want to be treated like a regular human being, that's not how they do things in Alabama. So I'm glad that the Book of Lucifer was found here in Alabama, because so much bad stuff has come from here. It's really time for that change. Really is. A new day for Alabama. That's what the Book of Lucifer is. What the Book of Lucifer means to me is, sometimes, people say things and they be meaning good. They tell you these stories and these scriptures, and in their mind, this is the truth, and they sharing the truth with you. But sometimes, nope, somebody been lied to them, and they telling you these lies, and these is old lies. But if you just, like Lucifer say, just think for yourself. Stop following everybody else, and look inside you and see what's going on in there, and start from inside, Quit looking outside for stuff all the time, because if you place a thing in the center of your life that lacks the ability to nourish, eventually it'll poison everything around you, even your perspective on the world or something. I think I heard that somewhere when I was under the influence of heavy drugs, but it's still true. Very much still true. Yep, Lucifer saved my life. I quit drinking. I quit smoking. I quit going with the women in the church because I was going, they was running up behind me, to be fair. It was equal running up behind. We was running up in a circle behind each other like that, creating the tornado winds of, But, I look back at all of that now, and I look back at me being up in the pulpit and marrying people, and I remember the time I told a gay couple that I couldn't marry them, and, I recently reached out to them and, asked them if I could give them a wedding ceremony in Church of Satan, and they told me no, and that I had missed my chance. And, that's life. That's real life. Sometimes you miss your chance fooling around with this crazy stuff. And, religion is one of them crazy stuff. Sometimes people ask me, Marlo, you done did 180, 360, 100 and 5,000, 2,500 degree turn away from what you used to be doing. Marlo, do you think that you're going to hell? And I say to them, huh? Because that really always catch me off guard. I mean, I don't even think about hell no more. But they say, do you think you're going to hell? And pretty damn sure it ain't no God, so it ain't no hell if it ain't no God. But if it was a God, let's just pretend, because that's what some of y'all is already doing. Let's just pretend that it was a God. I think that, now I don't know nothing at all, because I dropped out of school in the 6th grade, but I'm in Alabama, so nobody noticed. But this is what I think. If there is a God, right, up in the heaven, I think he'd be more happy about all of us acting like he wasn't there and still being good. I mean, just because somebody threatened you with hell to be good, you're not necessarily a good person. You're just probably more afraid of hell. And that's not a good person. And that kind of person will still go to hell. And Jesus be like, you son of a bitch, I don't know you. I don't know what Jesus say. I'm pretty sure it'd be mean and cruel and cold-blooded. One thing I learned from the Book of Lucifer is that Jesus is a bad person. He's a horrible person. He come like a thief in the night. Now, I don't know if you ever been robbed before, but it is not a pleasant experience. I mean, even if it's something simple like identity theft, it can get kind of scary. This one person can come in and mess up your whole life. It's a thief in the night. It's like you already being sneaky. Now you want to hide under the shadow of night. I mean, damn. What's up, Jesus? Why can't you come out in the daylight? Like an honorable, respectable person, knock on the door, be like, hello, I'm Jesus Christ, I'm here to rob you. And then I'd be like, oh, wow, okay, Jesus. But I mean, like a thief in the night? That's how you get down? That's how it is? I see. It's things that be pointed out to me in the Book of Lucifer that I had never really thought about before. Like, they always say that Satan was the one who said, I shall be like the Most High. But that's pretty much Jesus. People, that's Jesus. Satan never did do that. He was never worshipped like, God and Jesus get worshipped in the same church. How do I feel about other Satanists? Well, I feel like this is a different kind of Satanism with the Book of Lucifer. You got the old school Satanists, with your black patent leather and your makeup and your anger issues and people who really need some therapy, or maybe they just need a hug, or just a good old satanic hug. Maybe a little groping on the booty, something like that. Make them feel special, make them feel good inside, make them feel desired. Like that, because Satan wants you. God say come as you are, but he trying to change you the whole time. Satan is like, we good, damn it. Do I think the Book of Lucifer is a negative impact on society? No. Well, I know you probably wanted me to say more than that, but no. Ever since I left the church and I decided to do my own thing, I do a little podcasting, stuff like that. I enjoy nature. I go out to restaurants and stuff like that. I'm just really living my best life, and I'm not asking Jesus permission for it no more. Ever again. Because relationship, I don't know, it ain't for everybody. It really ain't. Being an old Satanist is, You got to be your own kind of Satanist. Put your own spin on it. That's what Aleister Crowley did. That's what Anton LaVey did. That's what you got to do. You got to put your own spin on this thing, and be what your version of it. That's the best way to do it. And as long as you're alive, it's hope. It's a chance for you to change your life and do something else with it. Be your own kind of Satanist. Be a friendly Satanist. There ain't no rules to this shit. Don't let nobody tell you how you gonna be a good person. Don't let nobody tell you what to enjoy. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. But at the same time, a responsibility come with that, so don't be walking around here like you're stupid. It's a certain responsibility that come with that. If you're gonna be your own God, you got to accept the responsibility. So, it ain't for everybody, but it's definitely for me. And when people ask me for money, sometimes I give it to them. Sometimes. It ain't about worshiping Satan. It ain't about praying to Satan. It's about Lucifer's example of personal accountability for everyone who has the power that, shit be accountable for or something. I don't know, but I had a really good time being here. I want to thank everybody. Stay tuned for more episodes of the Book of Lucifer. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna keep making them because people like me like them, and other people like them too. Okay, can we stop? Because I really got to pee real bad. Yeah, I drank about half a gallon of Powerade before I came here, I don't like Gatorade, I like Powerade.
The Christmas story, the story of the birth of Christ, has been told for centuries, but has it been told wrong? Lucifer vigorously argues that the whole tale of the birth of Jesus has in fact been embellished to make God look good. He suggests the version in Scripture is an amalgamation of other religious stories, paired with lies. He insists that the events did not happen the way Scripture recorded them. Lucifer claims that Mary and Joseph suffered a drastic age difference of over 30 years. Lucifer calls God out for his inappropriate relationship with the young girl, Mary. Lucifer suggests it is not a heartwarming story, but rather a tale of debauchery. The following is Lucifer's account of the birth of Jesus, in a chapter he entitled, Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Well, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John tell a slightly different version of this same story, but I will tell you the truth. Once upon a time, again in the Middle East, a young girl named Mary, who was 14 years old, was just enjoying her childhood until one fateful morning.
Mother, something unusual is happening to my body. I believe I've injured myself, as I cannot stop this flow of blood.
Oh, Mother of God. You're a woman, Mary.
What, me?
And a thumping good one, too, I'd wager, once you train up a bit.
I cannot be a woman. I'm just Mary.
Well, just Mary. Have you ever made anything happen without being able to explain it?
No.
Yeah, well, too bad, because your childhood is over now. Well, now, Mary, that you're grown, you gotta get a husband.
I'm just a child. Who would want to bind a child to themselves?
Joseph the carpenter down the road.
He's like 40.
The child Mary was to become a child bride, as was the custom for Joseph. My father, I cannot defend his actions, nor will I try. Young Mary found herself alone in her room, and she was visited by an angel.
Behold, girl, it's me.
Wow, you scared me.
I'm an angel.
Are you an angel?
It was an angel.
Yes, I am an angel, and I have come to inseminate you with the holy seed of God.
What? Excuse me? Wait, I don't understand.
That's exactly why I'm here. God heard your prayers. He thinks you're cute. So let's make this happen.
But I'm engaged to Joseph and supposed to marry him.
Well, God said that you're single for tonight. So hold still and let his spirit enter you. I'm not gonna stand here and argue with a child.
Mary was only 14 years old.
Mary, it seems like it was only just yesterday when I watched your parents conceive you. And now just look at you. You're wearing that puberty well.
Mary was concerned about her older fiancé, who compared to God seemed a lot younger now.
But I'm engaged to Joseph. If I carry the child of the Lord, what will Joseph say?
I don't think Joseph is going to be a problem at all.
What will the people say? While they carry large stones and drag me to the center of the square to stone me?
So while God was laying it low and spreading it wide, the angel of the Lord came unto Joseph.
Behold, Joseph,
Oh my God! Speak, Spirit.
I have a message for you. God has found favor with thy betrothed. God has chosen her, that blessed will be the fruit of her womb above all women, because to God the value of a woman is derived through her womb. You must take Mary and leave town at once, for she is with child.
With child? But how?
Well, when a middle-aged man and a teenage girl really love each other,
We have not known if each other. I don't understand how we could do that. When we have not known if one another if
Joseph, fear not, the child is God's.
God. What? Wait, hang on, man. What you? God sleeping with my girl?
There is no nice way to tell someone that their fiancé is being forced to bear the child of their master. But trust me, wherever there is Jesus, there is suffering to applaud him.
As we speak, God is filling Mary with his sacred seed.
Right now? That's messed up. That is messed up.
Behold, Joseph, you must raise this child as if it were your own. God has trusted you, and this boy is gonna be your son.
Now you know the angel could not return to God without having done what he was told, and this was not the best time to interrupt him, as he was busy at work in the womb of Mary. The angel did what he had to do. He lied.
Let me tell you a little story. Do you remember that time you and Mary drank from the same cup?
I believe so.
And the time both of you used the same bar of soap when you washed your hands?
Yeah, I remember that. I do. Yeah.
That was when your carelessness got her pregnant.
Okay. How about we go to Mary's house right now and see what Mary has to say about all of this? Come on, let's go to her house right now.
Oh no, we cannot visit her in this hour, or probably even in the next. She is most likely in the bed, or near it at least.
No, we can't go because you lying and God's sandals is on the Mary bed right now, man. I know it, man.
The angel of the Lord went back and forth with Joseph for several hours, as did Jehovah with Mary. Finally, the angel reasoned with Joseph.
Look, God already wanted to kill you. You need to just shut up and do what he says, alright?
And thus Joseph begrudgingly accepted his fate. He waited until she was 9 months pregnant and took her on a long journey to the city of Bethlehem. And when he got there, he could not find a place to stay, so he took her to a barn.
So, how did he get it in there?
What?
Don't play stupid, the baby.
What?
Okay, but like, how many times? Like once, twice, 7?
70 times 7.
What? Oh my God, are you serious? You always leaving out important information.
Look, you need to go back to school. My baby can't be walking around here looking like the son of a carpenter who makes cricket tables.
I told you for the last time that ground was uneven, so just leave me alone right now, okay? I don't feel like it right now. You real toxic.
You let somebody else get me pregnant, and now you have to drag me through this stupid town in the middle of nowhere. Oh, it's cold. I'm sleeping outside with real life livestock. I bet Jesus' real daddy never would have had us out here all broken poor.
Jesus? I thought we was gonna name him Little Joseph.
On the way here, Jehovah told me he wanted me to name the baby Jesus.
Wait, you still talking to him? I thought you said y'all was through. Why you still talking to him?
I can't just cut him out my life. He's my God and my baby daddy.
No. You calling him by his first name too? Don't nobody call God by his first name like that. I'm only gonna ask you this one time. Are you still seeing God?
Are you for real? He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. I see him in the flowers, in the trees, in the sunlight.
Hang on, wait a minute. What you mean you see him in the flowers? No, we about to have a fight right here and right now, because I ain't playing with y'all, man. Y'all think y'all could
Just then, 3 wizards had arrived.
Hello. My name is Merlin, and these are my allies, and we have come for the boy. We are men of magic and science. We have seen that a child will be born here, a child that will change the world forever. We have come so that we might see the child.
My water just broke. The baby is on the way.
Mary went into labor. The 3 wizards delivered the baby. The eldest wizard, Merlin, spoke solemnly to Mary as she lay exhausted, holding her newborn babe.
We came to kill the child, to stop him from growing up.
Oh my God!
Your child becomes the biggest villain of human history. We have reason to believe that if we kill him now, it will change the dark future.
Oh my God, no!
Fear not, for that is no longer the case.
I play too much for me, man. So this kind of stuff make you not even want to go to church, man.
As I understand it, your son will become an evil that men and women of the future will reject. We need your son to grow up and continue to be the bad guy. That way we can continue to be the good guys.
They were all pawns in God's game, and I will never forget the night that Jesus was born. I went to the manger myself while they all lay asleep. I stood over the sleeping babe, hovering my blade over him. But just like the wizard Merlin, I could not strike him. A decision I regretted until Calvary.
The Book of Lucifer has affected people of all walks of life and all ages. Meet a young boy that, to protect his identity, we will call Connor. Connor was once an active member in his church. But after listening to the Book of Lucifer on YouTube, his life was forever changed.
I guess you could say I had an ordinary life, you know. I went to school, I play football at my high school, play a lot of video games, watch a lot of anime. And my family goes to church about 3 times a week. Every time the church doors are open, my parents come running through. So, I have always been super active in my church. I even wanted to be a preacher once. So here in Alabama, that's about as normal as you can get. My pastor had came to me and asked if I would read the children's story at church, and I did. Then one time, I wanted to do a story from the Bible that had never been done before, instead of the same ones the kids hear every week. So, I hit YouTube and found the Book of Lucifer. I remember I started off laughing but ended up thinking. My pastor says the remedy for doubt is faith, but I think it may be that the remedy of faith is doubt. Yep, my family is black. Black folks just don't stop believing in God, but after I saw it, I started looking up more videos on atheism and stuff. And I found out I didn't have to believe in an old white man sitting in the sky watching me. I'm kind of glad there's no God, ya know. It means we're not all tied to his janky plan, but we can be free and make our own. No, not at all. God has never been happy just being himself. He can't just, be God. He has to be your friend, your father, like he's got a hole in him that he tries to fill with mankind's love. And Jesus is just a devil in disguise. He goes around with whips telling people to obey their masters. As a black person, that's just something I can't get behind. What made me not want to do it anymore was, well, I started to actually study the Bible, not like Christians do, but like I did my textbooks at school. I saw that it was all cap. God and Jesus broke every one of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. God got mad at Baal and Molech all the time, and he admitted he was jealous, and they weren't even real, but in his heart Jehovah believed, and that was wrong. Thou shalt not make engraven images. This comes from a person who carved man from the dust of the earth in his own image, and that was wrong. God just hates art. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Which is kinda stupid. If he had a problem with people using his name, he should have never told the Jehovah's Witnesses what it was. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. One time a man picked up some sticks on the Sabbath, and the people stoned him to death for working on the Sabbath, but isn't picking up stones to stone somebody on the Sabbath also work? Isn't stoning also work? Isn't being a tattletale on the Sabbath work? The people should have been stoned for stoning the man on the Sabbath? Honor thy mother and father. Sure, but it never talks about what to do for kids if your parents have no honor. Like really, you want me to honor an abusive, self-destructive drunk? Then he tried to bribe you into being nice to your parents, promising long life and land. But Jesus said in Luke chapter 14 verse 26, If any man come to me, and hate not his father, and mother, and wife, and children, and brethren, and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Thou shalt not kill. God killed everybody in the flood, and the world's first LGBTQ+ community in Sodom. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Mary was not God's wife. And the Book of Lucifer says Jesus and Krishna used to hook up all the time. During them 18 years Jesus is missing from the Bible. Thou shalt not steal, unless God sends you to an uncircumcised land to raid and pillage and kill all the women and children, except for the virgins, those you can keep for yourself. Thou shalt not bear false witness. In John chapter 7, Jesus told his disciples he was not going to the festival, because his time had not come yet, but in verse 10 it say Jesus secretly snuck out to the festival. That's a lie. Thou shalt not covet. God and Jesus want everybody's heart and all their love. Jesus killed himself and came back to remind you he did it. He wants your love so bad he'll take it mixed with guilt. I haven't told anyone. I know that if I did my family and friends would all treat me differently. Plus, I'm pretty sure it would break my mother's heart. I might tell them one day, when I'm older, but not now. I plan to head off to college and maybe study movie and TV production. But I want to go to college in New York or LA, gotta get out of Alabama. Yeah, don't. Seriously, don't go looking for God unless you are ready to face yourself.
Connor felt conflicted telling the children stories he didn't believe in, so he quit. Connor says he is happy with the path he is taking and looks forward to graduating from high school this upcoming year. Lucifer argues that, despite what ideas Christians, Muslims and Jews may believe about God, there is always evidence to contradict it. One of Lucifer's most famous retellings of a story in Scripture is also one of the most controversial. A story that has been banned from several Middle Eastern Muslim countries. It is a story that differs depending on which faith is telling it. The following is Lucifer's account of it all.
In the beginning, Jehovah spoke me into existence. I was his very first creation. I bore light, as does your sun, which has also been worshipped before. I ask that you do not worship me, or if you must, then worship me by exploring your own liberties. Unlike my father, I despise slavery in all of its forms. In the Quran, believers are referred to as the slaves of Allah. Islam means submission. Submission, of course, to Allah. What follows is a story that strikes a close chord to my own personal wound, given to me by my father, when he sided with Jesus, the callous-hearted, slimy scallywag, against me. This story marks a pattern of behavior in the Bible where the eldest son is shunned and the youngest son exalted. A story that asks, is a slave's heart and mind also the property of its master? A story I call Baby Mama Drama. Once again in God's favorite hangout spot, the desert of the Middle East, during God's favorite time, the Bronze Age, God was hanging out with a human he had befriended named Abraham. Abraham had some amount of wealth. He and his wife owned slaves. Yes, historically women have been allowed to own people, just not land. Good Christian white women made up 40% of the slave owners in America during slavery. While one woman, Martha Gibbs, even took enslaved people to Texas and forced them to work for her at gunpoint until 1866, and that's a year after slavery's formal abolition. God is totally into owning slaves. The Ten Commandments brings up slaves twice. Jehovah, I'm telling you, he was cool with it. Now I may hear some of you arguing that Jesus is against slavery. Well, I say this unto you, the hell he is. A centurion came to him, and the centurion spoke of his servant. He asked Jesus, the old fusty, hollow-eyed footlicker, to heal his slave. I argue that this was an opportunity to tell the centurion to free his slave, or to preach against slavery itself. But what does he do? He heals the slave and extends his life as a slave. Jesus was cruelly denying a slave even the freedom that comes in death. Jesus constantly spoke of slaves even in his parables. I'm telling you, both of them were cool with it. But back to the story. The whole thing, all the pain and suffering, started off with Jehovah chewing the fat with Abraham one night. Just like he did every night. As if Abraham was his equal.
Yep, and that's the reason I gave men nipples that don't work.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. By the way, God, thanks for bailing me and Sarah out back there in Egypt. Sarah is so beautiful, it just drives me Michigan.
Dearest reader, bear in mind Sarah at this time was the 73-year-old half-sister of Abraham. Her womb was as barren as the heart of God.
Yeah, you're gonna have your hands full when she gets that baby. Oops. My bad.
With all due respect, Lord, my wife is 73 years old. Do you really think this is the best time for this?
Sarah laughed. And God heard her laugh.
What's so funny, Sarah?
Nothing, Lord. It's just I am so old. I thought it would be funny if I were to have a baby.
The wrath of Jehovah began to swell against Sarah.
Am I not the Lord thy God who has established my covenant with your husband? I can do all things. I can make the sky rain fire, or rain frogs, or rain rain. I can make it rain pregnant frogs on fire with regular rain mixed in.
And it came to pass that time came to pass. After 10 years, Sarah decided to take matters into her own wrinkled hands.
Abraham,
Sarah, my wife, what is it?
do you remember when we first got to Canaan 10 years ago? And God told us that we was gonna have a baby.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it was just seconds ago.
Nope, it's been 10 years. But I think I know what he meant. I got this young Egyptian slave girl named Hagar.
I think I know where you're heading with this. You want to adopt Hagar.
Not exactly.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I was just thinking that if you have a baby by my slave, follow me now, then technically it would be mine. It'd be my baby. Ain't that right?
Wait, this has got to be a trap. So let me get this straight. You're telling me to sleep with another woman and to get her pregnant.
So you go sleep with Hagar, my slave girl, and I'm gonna take her baby and we gonna raise it as our own child.
So what did Hagar have to say about all of this?
She my slave, Abraham. She gonna do what I tell her to do. She too scared of that whip to disobey me.
Wait. You haven't even talked to her about this?
What is there to talk about? I just gave you permission for it.
Yeah, I understand, but look here. Women don't give permission to their husbands to sleep with exotic young women every day, okay? I need to sit down for a minute because I'm feeling dizzy. I can feel my blood pressure going up. I mean, you know this could have some serious fallout here.
Look, I want a baby, and you gonna give her to me by Hagar. That's it. Period.
What if I say no? What if Hagar says no?
Look at here, just as I did what you asked when you said I was your sister in Egypt and I was up there in the Pharaoh's harem. I ask you now to do as I ask you, also without question. You better not argue with me. I'm the sexiest senior citizen alive.
Abraham agreed to do as his wife had asked him. A short while later,
Hagar, I want you to come with me, child. I have a favor to ask of thee.
Yes, ma'am.
I need you to go in the Abraham's tent and carry something for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Need I remind you that you are a slave, my slave, and I can do without life what I wish.
I will obey you. Please don't beat me.
You ought to do as I say, and do not leave my husband's tent until he has given thee the load that you must carry.
Yes, mistress.
Egyptian wench, I am your master.
Yes, master. Yes.
Sarah led an unsuspecting Hagar to the tent of Abraham. Meanwhile, back in Abraham's tent,
Lord, about all of this, I didn't even ask for all of this.
Abraham, you old dog, you. Why are you complaining?
How am I supposed to even do this?
You know how me being in charge of everything means I can do whatever I want, to whoever I want, anytime I want to? Yeah, it's the same thing for you. I'm gonna call it the patriarchy.
You're saying you just want me to just...
Don't take no for an answer.
Oy.
Don't do what I would do.
Oy vey.
just then Sarah pushed Hagar into Abraham's tent, and without her consent or even her awareness of what was happening, Abraham deceived the young woman and knew her against her will. After the dark deed had been done, Hagar fled from Abraham's tent. Sarah stood outside the tent and grabbed the girl.
Now look here, you will carry this child for me, and when it is born, you will deliver it unto me.
Mistress, how could you? How could a woman devise such an evil thing against another woman? I despise you.
Months passed, but things were festering under the surface. An upset Sarah marched into Abraham's tent one night.
Great, Abraham, thanks a lot. Now my slave despises me, and it's all your fault.
Oh, wait, so you just got amnesia like you in a soap opera?
You know you should have disobeyed me, and now I'm out here getting back talk from a pregnant slave who hates my guts, all because of you.
You forget telling me to sleep with her. You forget threatening me if I didn't sleep with her.
This ain't nobody's fault but yours. I'm telling you, this girl despise me now.
Yeah, you may be exaggerating. What did she say?
Well, for me, it was the I despise you, straight to my face.
I despise you.
Well, that's pretty precise. That's pretty damn precise. Yeah.
And Abraham took the low road.
Wait, look, she is your slave. So you can always discipline her. You know, air quotation marks on the discipline, eh?
Don't tell me what to do with my slave. I'm gonna beat her.
Yeah, well, she's pregnant. That's not what I meant.
And Sarah did mistreat poor Hagar, causing her to run away. And when she ran outside the camp, she, still flustered from her attack by Sarah, began walking into the deadly night desert, aimlessly, weeping loudly. Just then my meddling father, disguised as an angel, appeared unto Hagar.
Behold, Hagar, where have thou been, and where art thou going?
To die in the desert. My mistress has killed me. She beat me knowing I'm with child.
Dying in the desert is not how this story ends, Hagar. Thou shalt live, and thou shalt have this baby.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. But Sarah will one day birth a son of her own.
I don't understand.
A son that Abraham will be commanded to kill.
I don't understand.
Sarah should never have laughed at the Lord. And if you learn nothing else, Hagar, learn this. God will hear. You will have a great and mighty son, and he will grow to father a great nation. His children will spill the blood of Sarah's children until the end of time. Your son will be like a wild ass, and he will make war with all of his neighbors. Both you and God will have your revenge. Return unto Sarah, your old dried-up mistress, and hide your hate until I tell you the hour of the Lord.
So with a broken, heavy heart, Hagar returned to her abusive mistress, Sarah the Dehydrated, who had commanded the aggressive assault on her in the first place. Jehovah always gets a kick out of breaking a person all the way down and kicking them when they are down. Time passed once again, and Hagar gave birth to her son Ishmael, which loosely translated means God will hear. The lad grew up to be a fine young lad indeed. But then Sarah, in her old age, became pregnant.
Oh no!
I bet you thought I forgot about it. Both of you are gonna be in diapers at the same time. Take that. Boom, baby. Take that. Oh God, no one can stop
Needless to say, this complicated the narrative. Young Ishmael, being a small lad with no filter, spoke unfavorably to Sarah.
Is it true that you have a baby inside you, Mum?
Yes, my son.
Sarah always looked dead into Hagar's eyes when she called Ishmael son, and she called him son often. Each time she would look defiantly in Hagar's face, daring her to correct her, lest she be beat in front of her own child.
Yes, and he will be your brother, but he will be greater than you.
Oh, because you're so old, when he is born, he'll already be a grown man with a grey beard?
Being mocked by her own slaves while trying to demean her slaves was too much for Sarah to endure. Sarah headed to the tent of Abraham. Come in.
See, that's what's wrong with you now, letting everybody in your little stinky tent.
What are you talking about now? You're supposed to be happy you're finally having this baby.
Ishmael made fun of me and the baby. All these bad things happening to me is your fault. You slept with my slave girl and got her pregnant. And I'm not sharing my child inheritance with the child of that old bondswoman. You can forget it. You crazy as hell, you think that's gonna happen.
Are you out of your baby snatching mind? You threw that girl at me, literally. Like threw her through my tent door.
And you threw your old nasty self at that woman.
That woman is the mother of my child and wife. Like, because of you.
She's still my slave, and I say put her and the boy out into the desert to die.
Sarah, wait.
There's nothing to talk about. Her and that baby go, or I go with this baby, and God's covenant.
Once again, Abraham took the low road.
Yeah, I got something to tell you. Keturah,
You call me by my real name. I had almost forgot it. Mistress Sarah changed my name to Hagar.
I remember. Hagar actually means foreigner. She's a cruel woman. You're the one I love. But she's got God on her side. And they want me to send you out, you and my firstborn, out into the desert to die.
You can't.
Look, God calls me his friend, but I am terrified of him. I mean, he's God. You're gonna tell God you're not really friends? You're gonna tell God that his pick for the draft was a loser? Yeah, well, not me. So I kind of packed a small bag of gold. Here's a little something for you. Now try and get to another village. You know, I really wish this could be another way, but, God, what you gonna do, God?
And Hagar went into the desert with the child. Soon her water ran out. Hagar knew soon she would die of thirst, so she lay her sleeping babe near a bush. She walked a distance off. She did not want her child to awake and discover her dead body. Just then, my father arrived, right on cue to play the hero.
Hark.
Which loosely translates into,
Thus, Hagar, behold, I will provide you water. Drink, 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 and restore thyself and the lad. Fear not, Hagar, he shall be strong and fruitful. You and God shall have your revenge.
The story of Sarah and Hagar is one religious scholars have argued about for generations. But as some people are still unwilling to accept Lucifer's account, this matter might be the topic of debate for years to come. After the Book of Lucifer was released, the world saw a drop in faith-based religions worldwide. Not even the crooks with their prosperity gospel could hold the people in their seats after they had been exposed to this book. Countless people have been touched by the book and its author Lucifer. Statistics reflect a decline in the belief of God. As the story of the Book of Lucifer spreads, the testimonies of its life-changing power grow as well. Our next stop is in New York City, the city that never sleeps. Among the new faithless masses are the individuals who have been freed from religion by the Book of Lucifer. One of them is a former Christian actress that we will call Catherine, to protect her identity. After years of working in the Christian film industry, she is speaking out about her experiences and her relationship with the Book of Lucifer.
When a young girl goes to Hollywood, she brings her dreams. After months of bombing every audition, my agent gives me an ultimatum. He said I had to either do this private dancer job for a mafia birthday party, or I could play the Virgin Mary in this low-budget made-for-TV Christmas movie. So, I became a virgin. Marijuana, theft, infidelity, prayer meetings with marijuana, nepotism, plagiarism, sexism, racism. I've seen people drive cars while smoking marijuana, listening to music made by musicians who smoked marijuana, who sing about smoking marijuana, all while driving to go buy even more marijuana. Also, they have wife-swapping marijuana orgies. Hollywood Christians feel like they are under persecution, so did I. Then I found the Book of Lucifer and realized I was the one doing all the persecuting. I was the one forcing my beliefs on everybody with the threat of hell. A lot of the people I knew were Christians who secretly wished to cross over to the secular industry. I was in a big movie franchise, I can't tell you the name, but it's about God still being alive, and right before we started to film, we all gathered hands in a big circle and had a crew prayer led by the film's director. The director said, "We thank you, for your son Jesus, for being who he says he is." That kind of shook me. I never thought it was possible for Jesus to be anybody other than who I was told he was. So, I went online to research if Jesus was who he said he was, and the Book of Lucifer says he wasn't. I believe that they have switched the roles of Jesus and Lucifer, over time. I still work in the Christian film industry, but no longer as an actress, but a producer, basically because there is an abundance of money floating around in the hands of fools waiting for me to pluck it out. I smoke their marijuana, I tell them what they want to hear, I bow my head and pretend to pray with them about their cheating spouses. But at the end of the day, I'm helping the Christian church destroy itself and be more like the world that it condemns, and I get paid to do it. So, hell yeah. I know it's a work of art, a work of fiction. But sometimes artists use lies to expose the truth. Sometimes only beneath the mask of comedy can we get away with talking about very serious things. It means censorship is always a threat, and hopefully that one day, for its own sake, society will normalize absurdity. Absurdity as expressed by the French philosopher Albert Camus. Well, I think now that hell is doing the same thing over and over without joy, and heaven is doing the same thing over and over, with joy.
In the tumultuous summer of 2020 during a racial protest, in the town of Birmingham, Alabama, a Confederate monument was overturned. Protesters discovered beneath it lie a buried manuscript entitled, The Book of Lucifer. The Book of Lucifer is an account of famous historical religious stories as retold by Satan, aka Lucifer Jehovason. The volumes contained herein are highly controversial, and it is advised that the weak at heart steer clear from it. Skilled literary professor, Lord Cain de Wilt, will read excerpts while also including interviews and testimonies of people whose lives have been forever changed by this book.
Sit back and load your favorite pipe. And pour your favorite drink. Because, dearest reader, I have a tale for you, the likes of which has never been told, not even upon the poisonous swag-bellied Disney Plus. While countless innocent women have been brutally murdered in the name of my father, or because someone accused them of being a witch, nothing compares to the gross hypocrisy of Jehovah himself. Jehovah has always employed magic in his endeavors. Even Jesus, that old clout plume-plucked hedge pig, did prance about like a tart, turning water into watered-down Marlo. But nothing quite compares to the gruesome, dark, ultra-violent tale of Moses the Blood Wizard. Our story begins a long, long time ago in a desert far away. There was a great and mighty kingdom named Egypt. Perhaps you've heard of it. In Egypt there once was a mighty ruler named Pharaoh, who believed in science and magic equally. He kept the greatest scientists and magicians as his personal and royal counsel. One night in Pharaoh's court,
Your Majesty, we done come to bring you the most tragic news of evil upon the horizon.
"What say you? An ancient prophecy speaks of great suffering and lamentations for Egypt at the hand of one who will be called the Blood Wizard. He shall bring plague and death upon Egypt, even unto the house of Pharaoh, my lord."
My lord, we knoweth not the exact hour of his birth. We know only that he will be born this year, or has already been born this year.
"Say it is not so." "I cannot, for it is beneath me to lie, my lord. However, we believe something can be done to save Egypt, but your majesty must act now, like post haste. Quickly, tell me what must be done to save my kingdom."
Issue a decree and murder all them thar Hebrew boys under the age of 2 years. We must strike now, your majesty. It is our only chance.
"If you do not stop him before he comes into his power, it will be too late for us all, my liege." And Pharaoh issued that bloody decree, and the soldiers of Egypt went out and began to slay every Hebrew lad beneath 2 years. Soldiers marched into homes and began snatching babes out of their mothers' arms and killing them in their faces. Panic and terror swiftly swept the streets of Egypt, along with flowing blood. One woman, Jochebed, who had just given birth, was not about to let this genocide take her child from her, so she thought fast. She took her newborn son and swaddled him in a Hebrew blanket and placed him in a buoyant basket upstream from the palace of Pharaoh along the Nile River. You see, Pharaoh's family had private access to the Nile. Jochebed knew this. Jochebed told her daughter Miriam to keep watch over her little baby brother in the floating basket and make sure that it landed in Pharaoh's daughter's bathtub, as it were. And that is where we get this symbol. Yes, it is called the Hand of Miriam. It is a symbol of guidance and protection against evil. This symbol is also called the Hand of Fatima by Muslims, but it does the same thing. But dearest reader, anytime you see an eye, it is most likely in honor of Ra, the big kahuna of the Egyptian gods. One morning while Pharaoh's daughter was taking a bath,
Alas, what a glorious dawn renders each day when one is not to be persecuted by endless oppressions of poverty, but instead to know that thou art to the manner born.
which loosely translates into,
Alas, waking up rich is the best feeling in the world. Wait, a tisket, a tasket, a floating wicker basket?
Pharaoh's daughter gathered up the basket and found the tender babe wrapped in a Hebrew blanket.
Alas, a Hebrew has sacrificed her child unto the Nile rather than to have it slain by my father's men.
Being a teenage daughter, she decided to do what all teenage daughters naturally do: rebel.
Alas, I shall spare this child. I shall claim him as a gift from the gods. Let us call him Moshe, for I have drawn him out.
And just then Miriam spoke unto Pharaoh's daughter, and told her that her mother was a Hebrew wet nurse. So Moshe, or Musa, or Moses as I shall refer to him, would become the sworn enemy of Pharaoh, raised in his very own house. Growing up, Moses had complete unequivocal knowledge that he was a Jew. But because of the harsh political environment, he continued to secretly pass for Egyptian. But in his heart, he harbored great hatred for all Egyptians, except the rebellious daughter of Pharaoh who had spared him oh so many years ago. But it came to pass that as time continued to pass, upon the passing of time, Moses, who was now a man, did witness an Egyptian violently beating a female slave. Of course, in scripture they fail to mention that she's a female, but they always fail to mention she's a female in scripture. But anyway, Moses witnessed this beating of this woman who reminded him of his mother.
Take that. Take that. Take that. Yeah, I love beating my slaves.
When the slave owner was done, Moses did circumspect his environment to make sure that they were alone, and he approached the slaver.
You there? Why do you vex your slave with such a thrashing?
Now looky here. What I do with my slave is gonna be my business, alright? She knows she can't be dragging around here moving all slow avoiding work.
Is it not safe to assume that the slave woman has already given her best years in service to you? Perhaps kindness would put a spring in her step before cruelty.
I don't know who you think you are, but I don't like people telling me what to do with my own slaves. I'll beat that old crone into the dust and dare her to rise up again. What's wrong with thee? Art thou some kind of Jew lover?
That final insult was the straw that did break the camel's back, as it were.
What if Jews kept Egyptians for slaves? I'll wager your tune would change then.
Looky here, screw thee and thine, you lover of Jews.
And with that, Moses did commence to throw hands.
Well, let's see how you like to be beaten down into the dust.
And Moses beat the slave owner.
Hiya!
Oh, please!
And Moses continued to strike the slaver without mercy, again and again. The sight of the fresh, bright red blood gushing from the man only fueled Moses' rage, and he struck him harder and swifter.
Didn't I tell you? Wait, did your face just bleed upon my fist? You mother fornicator.
Please, Governor! Sir, please!
And Moses beat the Egyptian citizen to death, but did not stop. He beat the lifeless corpse of that man as if his strength would have never given out. He beat that gentleman's corpse pitilessly, remorselessly, and unmercifully.
And now I dare you to rise, cur.
All until the rising of a new day's sun. At dawn, when the murderous rage had quieted itself, leaving an exhausted Moses spent in anger, Moses realized in the light of the sun the bloody evidence of his grotesque crime. Moses took the bludgeoned body of the Egyptian slave owner and buried it. And Moses fled from Egypt and hid from the consequences of his crimes, or so he thought. One night while in the desert, Moses walked past a bush that spontaneously burst into fire. And it consistently burned without ever being consumed by the flame.
Ah! What sorcery is this? Is that a bush on fire?
It was my father once again doing hood rat things with his hood rat friends.
Behold.
Which in translation reads as,
Bow down. When I come to your town, bow down.
And Moses fell to his feet, bowing his face in the sand before the burning bush.
I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, why... Oh, is this thing on? Hello? Oh, crap. Moses. Moses! It is I, Jehovah your God. I have spared you from the wrath of Pharaoh and preserved you for your destiny.
My lord, what destiny dost thou speaketh of?
You shall be my lethal weapon against Egypt, that I will use to free the Hebrews from slavery. With you as my instrument, I will bring pain, suffering, death, plague, and famine to Egypt. You shall be my blood wizard. Tomorrow, go and visit Pharaoh and tell him I said to let my people go, or else.
My lord, I cannot go before Pharaoh in his court. I have a speech impediment, where when I run out of words to throw at a person, I begin to throw these hands, my lord.
Fear not, Moses. Who dost thou think gavest thee thine spirit of intolerance? Go forth and do as I command at once. Together we will challenge Pharaoh and his magicians.
Yeah, the magicians of Pharaoh are wise and powerful.
Anything Ra can do, I can do better.
Moses went forth and did as the Lord commanded, and went boldly into the court of Pharaoh with his brother Aaron by his side. Aaron was there to catch Moses from throwing those hands.
Behold, Pharaoh, God has spoken to me and told me to tell you to let the Hebrew people go.
Sure, no problem. But at that moment, for reasons beyond logic and reason, Jehovah decided to harden the heart of Pharaoh. At this time, all the people in Pharaoh's court took notice of how the light left the eyes of Pharaoh, and his face hardened like stone as it grew dark.
Pharaoh, are you all right?
Wait, why should I surrender when your people are the ones who are conquered? It was then that Moses' speech impediment impeded him, his discourteous stuttering of profanity.
Oh, damn it. If your damn butt doesn't let God's damn people out of this damn country, I'm going to tear the damn city down, damn it!
Pharaoh laughed in his face. I laugh in your face. Or else what? What are you gonna do?
Jehovah, the God of gods, is going to send plagues and death. Your choice, Pharaoh.
Pharaoh was unimpressed. I am most unimpressed. You look like a second-rate, bottom-shelf magician. In Egypt, we have gods and magic of our own, which they did, and the magicians of Ra squared up against Moses, for they knew not his bloody anointment as the bloody wizard of Jehovah. God spoke unto Moses, saying,
Cast down thy staff, and I will show the Egyptians a magic that they have never seen before.
Moses was afraid to do it and look stupid, but not Aaron. He cast his rod upon the ground. And it transformed into a real live large serpent.
Boy, please, you playing with the big boys now, man. And we don't tolerate your kind round here, boy.
No, we don't tolerate it at all. The sorcerers of Pharaoh cast their staffs down at the feet of Moses, and to the amazement of everyone in Pharaoh's court, they transformed into a fit of phallic magic into serpents. At that exact moment, Jehovah spoke into the heart of Moses.
I didn't know they could do that. How did they do that? Never mind. Moses, we got this. Let's represent for the 99 and the 1,000.
Leave it to my father to have a magic snake measuring competition with Ra. Anyway, Moses' snake staff thingy creature devoured the stick snakes of the Egyptians, biting them. And their blood was real, and it did cascade against the floor of Pharaoh's court, leaving small puddles of blood on the ground. It should be noted that they did duplicate through the power of Ra, the same Las Vegas magic trick as Jehovah.
Your Majesty, behold the bloody dark magic he conjures in the name of this Jehovah. I suggest we get his people out of here quick, before something happens.
I totally agree. And God hardened Pharaoh's heart again. Wait, but my lord, you just said... Nah, forget that. Forget all thy noise. If I let them go, then every slave will dream up a new god that wants them to leave Egypt. So no, forget it, Moses.
What's wrong with you? Didn't you just see the whole snake thing?
The next morning, when Pharaoh was taking his morning bath in the Nile River, Moses, instructed by Jehovah to forsake all boundaries, came to the very spot where he was bathing. My father was deep into the ear of Moses, saying,
Always poison your enemy's water supply first. Go hit that river water with that snake stick.
Moses struck the water with his snake stick.
Hadouken!
And the river turned to blood. Every pond, swimming pool, every existing body of water turned into blood. All of the aquatic life died. This river was also the highway, so Moses had shut down commerce and traffic as well.
Behold the blood wizard of Jehovah. I told you.
It is nothing but a little party trick. Behold this, my lord. And the magicians of Pharaoh duplicated the trick. Then, being men of science, they dug near the river and gave the people an emergency water supply. And that pissed my father off. By 7 days' time, God had Moses roll up on Pharaoh again. What evil have you brought today unto the innocent Egyptians? Ours is a fight between gods, but you strike out at the people. Why, Moses?
God said to let my people go, or he will curse the city with a plague of frogs. You know you don't want that.
You can't just waltz in here, commit acts of terrorism, and then demand thousands of my slaves as ransom. That ain't civilized.
He thinks somebody is playing with him. Wave thy hands in the air, and wave them like you just don't care.
Moses did as God commanded. Then frogs began magically popping up out of the bloody rivers and bodies of water everywhere in Egypt. The frogs hopped their ways into beds, in ovens, just everywhere they were not supposed to be, terrifying the people of Egypt.
Oh, that ain't nothing, Pharaoh. We can do that too.
And the desperate magicians of Egypt did the same, unsolicited. What are you doing? Stop. Why would you do that? Are you crazy? Moses, wait. I'll let your people go. Just tell your God to get rid of all of these frogs, and I'll set them free by tomorrow. Man, shit, this is crazy. Okay?
God, we did it. Pharaoh is going to let the people go. So now you can kill the frogs.
And God killed all the frogs as if their lives meant nothing at all. Because they didn't. Because to him, life doesn't mean anything at all. Then once again, my father hardened Pharaoh's heart. I was just saying that to get you to stop.
Let us show this fool.
God is going to strike Egypt with lice.
He already has. Why do you think almost everybody in Egypt shaves their heads and wears wigs there?
Very well, then God shall make thy lice fruitful and multiply, and they shall flood thy wigs and thy wiggeries.
My lord, this here looks like the finger of God. You need to go get them people away from us as far as you can.
I must agree. Now my father at this point has won. Pharaoh and his magicians have realized that Moses is a powerful wizard, and his magic is going to get people hurt, sick, or even killed. They gave in and said Moses could take his people out of Egypt. But Jehovah is the most sadistic god of all gods, because once again, he hardened Pharaoh's heart. But wait, though.
Your Majesty?
On second thought, no, forget that. Your people are going to have to stay here and clean up the mess that you made out of this city. When they finish with them repairs, then we'll talk.
Pharaoh, I think it fair to advise you that God is not playing with you.
Good day, sir.
Pharaoh!
I said good day, sir. You get nothing.
Seriously, Pharaoh!
The very next morning.
Pharaoh, you had better let my people go, because things are about to get pretty serious up in here.
No, sir. Nobody is going anywhere until this mess gets cleaned up.
Yes, but aren't you afraid of Jehovah's wrath?
I cannot take your God seriously. He fights with blood, frogs, and lice.
Your Majesty?
What's next? Gnats and darkness? Tell your God if he really wants me to take him seriously, he's going to have to step up the plagues a little bit.
Oh, my lord, please!
Like my father needed any more encouragement. Jehovah's next plague was a massive swarm of flies. The flies, as you could imagine, did the same thing the frogs did. They got into places that did not belong. Pharaoh was annoyed, but his heart was not swayed to release the Hebrew people. Moses returned to Pharaoh.
Are you ready to let my people go, or are you getting used to the flies? We're only going to be gone for 3 days, to, pray in the desert. Yeah, that's it. And we'll be right back after that.
Stop lying, just shut up. You know good and well you guys are never coming back. But fine, 'cause I hate flies. Go worship your gross god and come back. And Jehovah removed the flies from Egypt. You know, I can't believe you keep falling for that. Change my mind, though. Tell your people to get to cleaning up this city at once, like I said in the first place. Feeling played, Moses spoke up.
Hark, Pharaoh, the hand of God will be upon thine ass.
Excuse me?
And thy sheep, and thy oxen, and all thy cattle shall die, if you do not free my people at once.
So you think you can come into my palace and threaten mine ass without consequence?
Jehovah is a threat to the ass of all evil men.
Are we still talking about cattle here? And it came to pass that the dark devilish deeds of the dastardly Jehovah did manifest most dynamically, killing all the livestock of Egypt. That's it. Oh my Ra, I can't believe this. That's it. I'm broke. Now I know at first I said that I would never allow them Hebrews to leave, and yet once again God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. And I meant it. Moses, tell your people they better learn how to pray to their God in their heart, because you guys are never leaving Egypt. A few days later, Moses returned unto Pharaoh's court. And upon entering, he threw ashes up into the air. And Pharaoh mocked him. They said you were the blood wizard of Jehovah, a terrible fiend, and I was supposed to fear your power. Now, after swarming us with the weakest plagues in human history, he commands you to throw ashes? I guess he got his run out of them simple magic tricks yet to defile himself. Pharaoh's court laughed at Moses.
Let us see how thou shalt run thy mouth when thou's foot shall be in it.
And then God sent a plague of boils. A boil, dearest reader, is a painful pus-filled bump that forms under your skin when bacteria infects and inflames one or more of your hair follicles. The bumps quickly fill with pus, growing larger and more painful until they rupture and drain. Areas most likely to be infected are the face, back of the neck, armpits, thighs, and buttocks. You can usually care for a single boil at home, but don't attempt to prick it or squeeze it. That may spread the infection. And of course, that is exactly what the Egyptians did, making it even worse. And Pharaoh's magicians could not stand before him because they were covered with boils even unto the bottom of their feet.
Oh, these boils. Oh.
I am totally covered in these boils. And just when Pharaoh was about to really let the people go, my father, who was having too much fun to stop now, hardened Pharaoh's heart yet again. Your Majesty, did that sound just come from your chest? Are you alright, Your Majesty? All Egypt needs is a little ointment, that's all. Maybe some Clorox injections, I don't know.
Fine then. Tomorrow, God will rain hail from the sky, the likes of which Egypt has never seen. It will kill all thy livestock.
Is your God so old that he is forgetful? He already killed off our livestock. Dead ass fills the fields as we speak. God made it rain. He made it rain on his foes, and there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. The rest of the animals that were outside also died. Stop. Stop. Please, God, I can't take it anymore. I don't know what's wrong with me. Please, go away and take your people with you right now. Moses stopped the hail. My father loves to kick someone when they are down, so once again he hardened Pharaoh's heart, perhaps trying to get it to match his own. Never mind. Stay here, thou art my slaves.
But Lord, I think we had him that time.
When I want your opinion, Moses, I will ask you. I do this for your children, and for their children's children, so that they may know better than to ever mess with me, and to know that I am God. Stretch out thy hand.
Moses did as God commanded, and a plague of locusts swarmed the land. They ate every green blade of grass and every leaf from every tree, and what remained of the Egyptian crops they devoured. God was punishing the people of Egypt for the acts of a king he had complete control of. Oh, I don't think you heard me the first time, so I will repeat it and emphasize myself. God was hurting innocent people on purpose to prove he was God. What better definition of a bully do you need? The locust came. Pharaoh begged Moses to stop it, and he did. But this time, screw thee, okay? Screw thee completely. Get out of here now and never return. And if I ever see your face again, I swear on everybody's gods, I am gonna kill you.
Okay, we are as good as gone. Goodbye, Pharaoh.
My father, being the petty monster that he is, was not done yet.
Moses. Hey, Moses.
Ah! Oh! Oh! You are really good at sneaking up on people, you know that?
Guess what? I still have one plague left.
But we won, my lord. You did it. We are free to make that short 3-day journey into the promised land now.
Once again, Moses, when I want your opinion, I will ask you for it. Tell the children of Israel they are going to have to get their hands a little dirty too. Tell them I said to kill a lamb and smear its blood across the doorpost of their house, because tonight, while Pharaoh sleeps, I am sending the angel of death to kill every firstborn son in Egypt. Only the houses with blood smeared on the doorpost will be spared.
But I don't understand, my lord. We won. We are free to go. Why do this thing to Pharaoh now?
Foolish mortal, you really think he's going to let you go in peace after all that I have done? When I am done, your people will be protected by this reputation. Everybody is going to be so afraid of you that not even a dog is going to bark at you.
And it came to pass that at midnight Jehovah sent the angel of death. Still don't think he's evil? He sent him out into the land of Egypt, that he may smite all the firstborn in the land, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all of the firstborn of the cattle, because Scripture records God killing the cattle 3 separate times, unless you're suggesting that the Word of God is filled with continuity errors. So thus God killed the cattle for a 3rd time. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all of his servants, and all of the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a single house where at least one person hadn't died. And Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron by night.
Rise up and get ye forth away from my people. Both ye and the children of Israel, Moses, all y'all get out of here. And hurry up. And before the gods do something crazy and change my mind again, just get your people and go. Just go. Go. Before something crazy happens to me inside. You know, I don't even know what to tell you.
So at last the Hebrews were released from Egypt, after God had made sure that they could never return. And they traveled away from Pharaoh, headed in the direction of the Red Sea, and they were happy and smiling. But Jehovah, seeing their smiles, was filled with rage.
Pre-adventure, the people get scared of war and want to go back to Egypt. I shall seal the deal.
So yet again, that's right, you guessed it, God hardened Pharaoh's already broken heart again.
Oh God, what's going on there? Things is happening inside of me there.
Pharaoh and his army got mobile and chased the Hebrews to the edge of the Dead Sea. It looked like it was the end for Moses and his people.
Hey, God, I followed your directions, but I got lost. We are stuck with our back to the sea. I think I see Pharaoh's army in the distance. I could use a little help right now, if you're not too busy.
Shut up. I am so sick of you crying and whining already. Go grab the bones of Joseph and get that magic snake stick, and come on, we're going to part the Red Sea, allowing the people to cross.
And Moses stood at the edge of the sea and held up the snake stick.
Hadouken!
And God parted the waters, and the people walked in between the parted water to the other side in safety. And when the army of Pharaoh got close to the people of God, God let the water fall around the Egyptians while the water remained parted for the children of Israel. Pharaoh watched in horror as not a single one of his men survived. disease, plagues, fire, blood, the hardening of hearts. These are the true powers of Jehovah. To go behind the back of Pharaoh, whom he was manipulating the whole damn time, so he could justify the slaying of the firstborn of an entire nation. A fool says in his heart that Jehovah is love. Love would have yielded mercy on the Egyptians who were innocent. Love would never have hardened the heart of Pharaoh repeatedly over and over again. Love would have made a way without blood. Love would not have killed innocent animals for the deeds of their master's masters. My father hurt the Egyptians as a warning of what he would do unto the Hebrews should they falter. The tales of Moses, the blood wizard, continue, but I will have to finish later. The very thought of Moses turns my stomach. A pox on thee wherest ever thou art, Moses, ye old blood wizard.